Welcome to this introduction to the Ascend community. This video guide will help you navigate sections of the Ascend website and open source repository and find the relevant resources and support you need to start developing on the Ascend platform. The Ascend community website is a unified portal for developers. It provides one-stop support services as well as an easy-to-use portal experience. We will go over the different areas of the website for you to understand better where to find the information you need. Huawei has launched the full-stack Ascend AI software and hardware platform with the aim of enabling application development in industries such as energy, finance, utilities, manufacturing, telecom, and education. Here you can find information specifically on application development, supported frameworks, CANN compute architecture, and the Atlas hardware series. First, let's head to the software menu. In this section, you will find the tab for the Model Zoo. The Model Zoo is where you can find pre-trained models or model training scripts which are compatible with Huawei's Ascend AI processors, for example, the Ascend 310 and the Ascend 910. To search for a model, you can take advantage of the categorizations in Model Zoo. There's two categories, model script and model. The model script can be used to train a model on the Ascend 910 training platform. The category model consists of pre-trained downloadable models for integrating into your application for inference on platforms with Ascend 310 processor, example, the Atlas 200DK, Atlas 300, and Atlas 500. You can also search for models according to the applications in AI spanning the fields of computer vision, recommendation, NLP, speech, and reinforcement learning. For example, within CV, you may find models for OCR, object detection, and so on. The model scripts consist of training code for various models using TensorFlow or the MindSpore framework. Let's take ResNet as an example. On navigating to the page, you will find basic information about this model. Click on Download button to get all the required code. In the Overview section, you will find a quick introduction to the model and paper and its GPU or CPU implementation code. In the Default Configuration section, you will find details of network structure, dataset preprocessing, and training hyperparameters. For this model, the supported features are distributed parallel and mixed precision training. These methods can accelerate the deep learning network training process or reduce memory usage and retrieval, enable larger model or batch sizes to be trained on specific hardware. In the Before You Start section, you're reminded to ensure a hardware backend with Ascend AI processor. You will also find links to MindSpore tutorials and API references. The Quick Start section gives you information about dataset preparation, environment variable settings, and train and test commands. In the Advanced References tab, you will find sample code and script with details of optional script parameters. The Model tab gives you the option to download pre-trained models. Let's look at the ResNet model. Click on the Download button to download the model file. You will find links to the paper, GPU or CPU code, and model information such as inputs or outputs. The Quick Start tab gives you instructions on converting the model weights file from a third-party open source framework such as Caffe or TensorFlow to the offline model format supported by the Ascend platform with the ATC command. To run the model, you can use MSAME or build applications using ACL, which stands for Ascend Computing Language, programming APIs. It is possible to train your model on a third-party framework currently supporting TensorFlow and PyTorch. You will find all documentation on model script adaptation, training, and operator development in this section. Next, we navigate to the CANN tab in the Software section. The CANN is a heterogeneous computing architecture for AI scenarios and provides multi-layer APIs to help you quickly build AI applications and services based on the Ascend platform. You can find information about its core components as well as links to the user guide and download options. Next, let's look at the Mind Studio tab. Mind Studio provides a one-stop IDE for AI development, from model and operator development to application development. Please find links here to understand the features of Mind Studio and download the IDE. In the hardware section, you will find information about each of the hardware product offerings in the Atlas series, download links for firmware and drivers, which are useful for first-time setup or for installing updates, as well as extensive documentation. In the Developers tab, you will find a link to the Resource Download section, where you can find a collection of downloadable resources. The Case Studies section hosts sample applications categorized by programming language, application fields, applicable product, and API type. Note that all projects are open source and available in Git or GitHub. You may head over to the Ascend forum for asking questions, support, and participate in knowledge sharing. The developer documentation link on the top right corner contains the collection of all reference documentation. It should cover all scenarios, including environment deployment, model development, application and operator development, as well as full pipeline development tools. For the documentation, you will find different editions and versions for development, as well as specific documentation for hardware. Note that there's two different editions, community versus commercial, corresponding to pilot versus more stable versions. In the Industries tab, you can find examples of several success stories of applications utilized in various industry sectors. For example, in the transportation industry, you will find the background idea in overview, specific challenges encountered in the industry, such as inefficient toll collection, that was improved by implementing an AI-based solution using the Atlas Edge Station. Another scenario is the healthcare industry, wherein AI-based solutions can solve problems related to quick screening, diagnosis, and evaluation of treatments. In the Training tab, you'll find links to various online courses. You can watch videos on several topics such as the environment setup guides, tutorials on Ascend AI, model and operator development, as well as expert lectures. This section will continue to be updated as more training videos are added. You can also access information related to the Ascend certification in this tab. Huawei has established collaboration on AI education with several universities on Huawei's Ascend AI platform. Here, you will find teaching slides, examples, as well as a link to the reference book. You are encouraged to submit your issues through the Git or GitHub issues channels. Please note that there are separate links to each of the recommended portals corresponding to the topic of the issue you want to raise, such as for issues with models or scripts in Model Zoo, sample applications, porting TensorFlow training scripts to Ascend, MindSpore, converting pre-trained models for inference, or bugs in the graph engine. If you're not sure which portal to use, please propose it in the Model Zoo. You may want to follow the community communication channels on Slack for technical discussions or announcements. Participate in the forum for questions related to hardware and peripherals or setup and deployment. The open source repository, as we saw, hosts all open source projects and guidelines for contribution. Thank you for watching this video.